Hello. As you can see in the title of the video, we're going to be K-swapping my ES1 Civic. It's a 2004. It is the LX, so the base model. So it's non-VTEC, no sunroof, which I prefer. And I have the cool charcoal interior. So it's like not the tan or some ugly colors. We have a cool gray, and then it's a little dirty, but we have a somewhat cool interior. We have RSX front seats, SI steering wheel, 8th gen SI rear seats. You know, I'm trying to make this into a cool car, basically like a little budget SI budget. And then, you know, we have the 5-light conversion and cool SI wheel. So yeah, so we're gonna be converting this to basically an SI. I just love how these Civics look, but I don't like how 8th gen SIs look. So 7th are beautiful. They never really made this into an SI except for the EP3. Basically almost a year ago, I got a subframe. This off of an EP3 SI. Civic SI. Stole the harness and a lot of parts. I've been taking a lot of things from this car, and I've been struggling, and I'm so tired. I am beat up, but it was worth it. Right now, I am currently sanding it down with some very rough sandpaper. She's got some, you know, she got like some surface rust and stuff. So trying to make it smooth, and then we're gonna be painting it up. There's a cover off of an SI I used to have. This from my sedan that I once had. I kind of stole it. I have the other cover, but lo and behold, boom, we have a K20 Z3 off of an 08 SI. From what I heard, it only has 69,000 miles. It came with the 6-speed LSD. And I got this as an entire drivetrain. So it had front suspension, lower control arms, wheels, everything. I already took it apart. Next clip's going to be me showing you the process of me getting this engine.
So I have the whole warehouse. I take it for better. I don't mind a piece of this wood, but my ribs. Would it be better if it was from the side then? Would it be better? Yes. Put it in from the side. So what else do we need, Kevin? Hey, Mr. Fucking Video.
So yeah, as you can see, it was a damn nightmare to get inside, but many hours of work and stuff, we got it in. I've already begun touching it and stuff, so in the next video I'm going to talk more about what I've done, but so far, it's nice and bare. And on the side, I've been getting a lot of parts. So this engine, it came with some pretty cool headers. I don't know what they are. I won't say they're DCs because they're so damn rusty, but there's no stamps or anything. I don't think they could work with my car, but I'm going to try to see what I can do to see if I can run them. If not, some RSX stop headers. I got this heat sealed. Oh, so the K20 Z3 came with an electric steering motor, so there's no power steering, but I got a new power steering pump. So I'm going to be slapping that on because I still want to use my OEM steering rack. I'm going to explain what I have and what I'll be doing. So I'm going to still run my OEM steering rack. I'm going to try to make it work. So here that we have the pump. I got the lines with it too. I'm not sure if it's from a K24A2 or a K20A2, but it doesn't matter because they both have the same power steering pumps. And this one I got off of a RSX Type S, but the engine was a K24A2. So it's either from the Type S or from the K24A2. But it should work, doesn't matter. We have a radiator from a hybrid Civic. The good thing is, you know, it's moved over, but mine still has the transmission cooler line. So I want to see if I can get creative and make it work with my transmission. I'm going to see, but for the meantime, I might just tap it off. Also from the hybrid, I got the battery tray. I'm going to be using a lot of OEM parts. I'm very certain that battery tray will work, so my battery can still be in the engine bay. A lot of people relocate them to the trunk, but I do not want to relocate my battery. So for my wiring harness, I have a EP3 SI entire harness. I got a bunch of stuff off of that car. So I have the charge harness, I have the main harness. I even got the fuse box. I just wasn't playing games. I took almost every piece of harness I could from that EP3SI that I saw a while ago. So here we have a PRC intake manifold, which is from a ITR Integra, that's JDM. There could have been a good intake manifold, but I decided to not go with it because the RBC is the best OEM intake manifold you could get. We have the PRC throttle body, which is, I'm pretty sure, the same as a Type S, or very similar. Something I found out though is the studs you need like longer hardware, at least for mine. So I ended up stealing the PRC studs and mounting them onto, this adapter that I got on eBay, which was $30. So here we have the trays of parts. So over here, we have a harness adapter from K20. Got this for $130 off of this website I found. We have a PNF ECU with the Honda K-Pro V4. I got the ECU from the EP3SI a while ago for an amazing deal. Here it is. And under there we have some suspension stuff. We don't have to worry about that. I found an RSX part out, and the guy gave me this intake. Got this for like $20. Over here, we have two shifter boxes. These are both from a Type S, so 6-speed. I'm pretty sure I won't be using them. I found something out. I believe you can still use your stock shifter box on the ES1 Civic, and they're a lot shorter. So if that's the case, then I'm going to run those and just sell these. Then down here, we have the Z3 harness, which you don't really want to use, and a couple calipers from different cars. But here we have some mounts, EP3SIs or RSX engine mounts. I have those because, if you look, I got these mounts. These are from an RSX. We do it out the spot welds and hammer them out. And there's the T-bracket that holds the transmission. What I found out is that what I believe, my Civic has these same mounts, right? These are on if you have an ES1 or EM2 Civic, these sit to hold your D17, but they're on opposite sides. Now in Thailand, they got the K20 ES1 Civics. They came like this. I'm very certain that these RSX engine mount brackets are the same as our ES1 or EM2 Civic. They're just swapped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill mine out and try to swap them out. They should line right up and bolt up to the K20. And I can still use, RSX engine mounts and stuff. It should work. If not, I'm going to have to get creative, but I'm super certain that I can still use these. I'm also doing my own engine mounts because I don't feel like spending almost $700 just for some engine mount just to hold the engine. I feel like that's just not a good price. If they're a lot cheaper, I would have done it, but $700 is just not right for me. I got the damn Civic for $950, so no way I'm paying the price of the car for just some mounts. If I can make it myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be using a little MIG welder with flux core. I'm going to try to make sure I do it the best I could, but I have faith in myself. But yeah, if these can weld right in, I'll be saving a shit ton of money because I got these for like $20, which very cheap compared to $700 just for some engine mounts. Look here, we have the K20 Z3 throttle body, which we won't be using because it's worked with a motor. Don't need that. Something I found out, unfortunately, you can't use the K20 Z3 axles because they're too long. So if you put them on your ES1 or an RSX, when the suspension is traveling, it'll put a lot of tension and stress into the LSD or into the trans, and it can mess stuff up. So it's recommended you don't use the Z3 axles. And that's fine with me because I found a part out Type S that I got the power steering pump. I also got the front spindles, the front axles, and a bunch of other goodies. Oh yeah, I also got the shifter box from him. But the problem is the hubs, the bearings are bad. You can shake this, you can't tell, but this shakes, so it needs new hubs, which is fine. Another thing I have the shifter cables. These are from the RSX Type S, but you can use regular RSX. I also have the throttle cable from the RSX Type S. Oh, I even have an alternator. You don't need the alternator, but I just got it. Oh yeah, another thing I got I got the water pump from that K20 I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I just have it. At the time, I actually thought it was a K20 but nope. Oh, another thing you need is this bracket. This is from an RSX. This is a base model because the original mount for this transmission is different. It's just two studs that mount to an 8th gen SI. So I luckily got this for, stupid cheap. I got a lot of things for stupid cheap. A lot of people sell everything for, a good amount of money. But if you look for deals, look for part outs, negotiate, you can get everything for crazy cheap. I'm going to be making a video towards the end of how much I basically spent. But so far, I have a good amount of money in it, but not as much as one might imagine or think. But this bracket's pretty important when you're doing the K20 swap onto your ES1 or EM2. So something you might want is an engine hoist. I was going to buy one. I've seen on Marketplace for pretty damn cheap. I saw one yesterday for $60, but it sold real quick. And then right now there's one for $100. I was going to buy it, but I don't need it. So my teacher was nice enough and offered me to borrow his engine hoist. And hell yeah, I can borrow this. And he said I can borrow it for as long as I can finish my engine swap and return it. So, got lucky on that. But if you need an engine hoist for cheap, either ask some homies. If not, get one on Facebook Marketplace for dirt cheap. People ask a lot of money, but just negotiate and you can get one for cheap. I found a couple already for $100. Yeah, that's everything I basically have for my engine swap. So I have the K20 Z3 with the Z3 trans, the RBC intake manifold. I have an adapter placed to fit onto the PRC or PRB, which is the K20 Type S or ITR throttle body. I have a power steering pump to have power steering onto this because there's just a pulley, an idler pulley, and I'll be deleting it because I'm going to be running power steering. Engine harness, I went also with the EP3SI. It bolts right up. I have changed a few things here and there, which next video we'll be talking about. But I'll be using the stock battery tray from a hybrid. I'm pretty sure they're the same as a RSX or EP3. You can grab those battery location stuff. I have a hybrid radiator. They're from an automatic since it has the coolers in the bottom, but it'll work fine. Just gotta tap them. Or if not, try to get a manual hybrid Civic. For exhaust, this has some headers for an 8th gen. I'm gonna see if I can make them work. If not, I'll have to be using my RSX headers, which will be fine for now, but in the future I will be finding some headers. But also, I'm going to be talking about everything that I'm going to be using for my engine swap. I'm going to be using stock engine mount brackets because I'm not buying no Hasport engine mounts or anything because I think it's too much money. So, I have some stock brackets from an RSX. And for your engine harness, you need the main harness that goes onto the engine, and then you also need the charge harness. It's pretty important, I want to say, because it has some adapters that have to connect to the main harness, and the other ones just adapt to the alternator and the starter. So you want the charge harness. And then for the ground harness, I'm pretty sure you can still use the stock one, but the car was there, so I got all the entire harness stuff. This is the PRC intake manifold. It had 2 studs, and I took them off to run on my engine. Then for computer management, I went with the K20 harness adapter. Pretty self-explanatory. It just plugs in, and then there's just a few wires you have to splice in. I haven't done it yet, so we're going to see what we do for the next video on that. But it should be a simple plug and play. Get these for $130 to $150. You just got to look around. They have them on eBay. If not, K20, or just look around. They're not too crazy expensive. And then for the computer, you can basically use almost any K20 ECU. So from an RSX, EP3, from an Accord, and many other stuff. The main difference is if you get the PRB, which is from RSX Type S, it'll have a reverse lockout for a 6-speeder. But now if you do any other K-series ECU, it just won't have a reverse lockout for the 6th gear. So if you're on the highway, you can put on, instead of going to 6th, you'll put in reverse. But that's very damn hard to do. so it shouldn't be a big deal. But I'm just using a PNF ECU with the K-Pro V4. You can still get K-Pros, just gotta look around. I found a guy not too far from me that is a dealer and does them. It was $800. Popped it in, not too bad. I got the ECU from the EP3SI for dirt cheap. It came with, I got a big package deal. I got the subframe, harness, ECU, 5-lug conversion for the front with shocks and the entire suspension. I got a lot of stuff off of that EP3SI, but ECU with the K-Pro V4. If not, there's other ways you can make it without getting the K-Pro, but K-Pro is very recommended. And as far as the harness, you can make your own harness adapter. There's ways to do it, but I just didn't feel like messing with the wiring. I didn't want to. Intake, I got it off of an RSX. It was on a part out. I got it for dirt cheap. I've seen people use the stock D17 intake, but you can get very creative. This intake is not really hard to mimic. If you have a different intake that's aftermarket on your Civic, you could probably use it. You just gotta, play with it a little bit. As far as shifters, this is from a Type S, so it's a 6-speed one. I'm very certain from what I've heard is you can still use your stock 5-speed shifter box, even though you're putting on a 6-speed. So I'm going to be testing that real soon when I do the swap. But just in case, I have 2 of them. I got them both for dirt cheap, and I'm just probably going to flip one, if not both. Then for engine mounts, these are RSX engine mount brackets. I don't think I needed these. I don't know yet, but I grabbed them just in case because I got them for so damn cheap. And these are also some stock engine mounts that I got from him too. They're pretty shot. The bushings are ripped, but I don't really have anything right now. First, I just got these just for testing purposes. And if they work fine, then one day I'll get some new ones from good old eBay. But RSX engine mount brackets, we'll find out in the future if we need these or not. If not, I'm just going to use the ones on my Civic. You need this T-bracket for the transmission. Oh, and by the way, this is for, I'm using these engine mount brackets if you're going to be doing your own engine mounts. You can skip the entire engine mount process if you buy the swap mounts. It'll be a lot easier, just more money. But anyways, next 2 things that you basically need. Shifter cable, you can't use the D17 ones. I've seen on some forums that people made it work somehow, but it's really tight or something. But I found these, good deal. These are from a Type S. I believe the base one's also from a RSX base should work, but EP3SIs will not work. Same thing with the throttle cable. You can't use an EP3SI throttle cable because those are too short. So any RSX throttle cable will work from a base model or Type S. Mine's just from a Type S because that's what I saw and that's what was there. And I believe you can maybe use the stock D17 throttle cable. I've seen somebody make it work somehow. We'll see in the future. On something else to keep in mind, if you're going to be using your OEM steering rack from the ES1 or EM2, I heard that power steering pump should just bolt right up. You got to take off this pulley, and K24, K20 power steering pump will bolt right up. You just have to find a different belt. You don't need to change the alternator AC compressor because it'll all just line up. You just need a new belt. Oh yeah, so we're going to be changing the subframe real quick. So here's how it looks right now. I've been working on it, I've been sanding. We're going to be getting most of the rust off and then painting it. Subframe is cleaned. There's still a little bit of rust here and there, but that's way better than before. I also started on doing some of the bolts. I got 2 bolts out. One of them snapped. Oh well. It's going to have new bushings in the future, so it's got to be cautious. That's fine. For now, 2 bolts will hold it. But now that it's mostly sanded, wherever I could get to, I got most of the rough rust off. I got some outdoor paint, so I'm just going to spray her the hell up so it doesn't get too damn rusty. Okay, the bottom of the subframe has been painted. Came out pretty damn good. Time to flip it and take off as much rust as I could and paint it too. So here's a little before. Looks terrible. Hello. So, subframe, one side done. Came out pretty good. Other side, I just cleaned it up. I took off as much of the big rust as I could. Now it's just ready for paint. Right now it's just a little dark and cold, so don't want to paint it right now. But hey, it came out pretty damn good though. Just tomorrow it'll start getting painted. While doing that, well, got this ready. So I sanded it up. I'll be painting it black because the chrome doesn't look good. It was already oxidizing. So I think it'll look better once it's all black, nice and clean. This is how it looks right now. Pretty disgusting. The sensor, I was trying to take it off, but it was just kind of being annoying. So screw it. I'm just gonna leave it. I taped off the plug. Got an intake for 20 bucks. Came with a pretty ugly coupler. That's blue. Got some vinyl paint. Let's see if we can transform it. I cleaned it a good amount. This stuff is just pretty hard to get off. So I'm gonna leave it there. Let's see what this does. Look at that. Not freaking bad. It's nice and black. Doesn't look annoying blue. Happy with that. So, painted the intake. It came out phenomenal. Love it. It looks a little more high-end now. And the subframe, pretty damn good. Looks way better. Not terrible. Now I can put it in the car happily. Here we have our valve covers. There's a nice black, but I kind of want to do kind of an OEM look. So I plan to paint them a clean silver. So this is how they look. It's not even painted that good. It's not bad. But we have this cool like gunmetal gray. So we're going to be painting it that color. So I'm going to sand it real quick, mask it off, and it'll be painted. Got some painter's tape, razor blade, went all the way around. Scuffed up the valve cover plastic piece. That looks a lot better. Well, it's ready to get painted on because it was too smooth before. I'm going to take this off. Okay. Cleaned the little cracks because they're really dirty. It's taped up. Now we can transform it. And just like that, the little plastic covers, they're painted. And I couldn't be happier with how it came out. They are super flaky. Looks beautiful. Can't wait to put them on soon. You guys now know what the plans are with the Civic. Subframe is ready to go. I already have all the parts. I have the intake. So in the next video, we're going to be going over. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching.